Hi guys, Jonathan Chown here with JChownGolf at Crondon Park Golf Club in Essex, and today what we're going to talk about, the one most important thing in your backswing that you are not focusing on, that is going to guarantee that you're going to fix your over shape to the right for a right-handed golfer. So your slice out there, and this is one thing I commonly see all the time that golfers do not even know about, that immediately affects your ball flight straight away, and it's something that everyone can do as well. It will immediately fix your slice there, guys. I'm not over exaggerating. This is something I always do in lessons with people, and people are amazed by how this really affects their ball flight straight away, even after one swing. So before we get into that, guys, please make sure you liking the video helps my channel out a ton, so make sure you click that like button, and as well subscribe if you want more golf content coming out there. That's could be complicated topics, but actually easy to understand and broken down simply, that will actually improve your game, not just give you little tips here and there. Golf improvement, that will give you knowledge as well. JChownGolf is where it's at, so click that subscribe button, you won't be disappointed. So this one backswing movement that will immediately affect your ball flight in a positive way, especially if you're a slicer of the golf ball, and it will help with a lot of other things going down in your golf swing as well. And that's all about our position at the top of the backswing. So that is where we are at the top there. Now this is where most golfers immediately go wrong. For, let's say, if you're an over the top golfer, this is the bit that will be the root cause quite a lot of the time to that over the top move. And all this is what's called lead arm depth at the top of the backswing, or you could call it depth to your hands at the top, hand depth. Now what that is, that's essentially getting my hands more behind my body at the top of the backswing. So depth is really gauged by where my hands are in relationship to my feet, where my feet are. So if I haven't got much depth, my hands are going to be very much over my toe line here. If I've got a, let's say, a decent amount of depth where it's acceptable, that would be more along kind of my heel line, and even more, let's say, a Rory McIlroy kind of area, that will be more behind your heel. And what we can see with depth, and with a lot of golfers out there, whether it be tour player or amateur golfer, if they don't have that much depth, it always results in a very similar outcome, where they will get up to the top of their backswing, so a lack of depth, where you've got where your toe area is here, so my hands over my toes. If I go and rotate in a downswing, actually make a really good first move, even the sequencing could be in order. I make a really good shift, good rotation in there, but if my hands have got a lack of depth, where my hands here are over my toes or even over my neck, I'm immediately going to be shooting outwards with my hands in transition. Whenever we rotate in the downswing, our hands are going to go outwards too. See that? I'm just rotating my body, I'm doing nothing with my hands. Obviously I'm just over exaggerating it, my hands are being pushed out. So you can imagine, if I've got a lack of depth and I rotate quite well and I shift quite well, I'm going to be in a position here where I'm swinging very, very over, very out to in, over the top type of deal, where the only thing I can do there is swipe across it or do something with my body to compensate, raise up, to be able to get on top of that golf ball. So you can see, if we're in that movement, if we don't make a compensation, we're going to hit a very slicey shot out there. So that's not what we want to do. So you can see immediately, without even changing what we're doing in the downswing, if I got myself more depth, so my hand's a little bit more behind me there, I'm going to immediately be able to get that club into a better position without doing anything different to start my downswing. This is where it's a massive thing. As soon as we change this, for a lot of guys in lessons, it's amazing. We change this bit here and immediately the ball flight changes, because we're getting good depth, we're turning to the exact same move, and the club's on a different path already. We've had to do no work, there's had to be no manipulation of that club to get in that path. Immediately we've got there and we're hitting straighter golf shots for it. Because I find for a lot of golfers, a lot of slicers out there, a lot of them actually have a fairly good club face. I mean, you do get the people who have weaker grips where, or they're cupping their lead wrist where it's opening up the club face, which is contributing to it. But I find a lot of people out there actually have a club face that's very stable in their golf swing. They've just got such a poor position at the top of the backswing that they're only going to have the path bit going out and that path bit going out all the time. So how do we get this more depth? That's more of the question we've got to ask. How do we get that more depth? Because ultimately, this lack of depth has been created by a lot of golfers from doing the old bracing the legs and really resisting the turn, because that will not give you rotation. Just like rotation gets your hands going out in the backswing or the downswing, rotation in the backswing gets your hands going in and around. So we need those hands going in and around, and we cannot restrict our lower body. We cannot brace into our leads, our back leg there, and turn and be able to get depth behind us. We need to be able to turn to get that rotation, because you can see here, guys, as soon as I turn, watch where my hands go. They go more in around me. I'm obviously exaggerating it a lot. So if I got the club in my hands and I just really exaggerate getting a big full turn there, look where my hands are straight away. They're much more behind my body. They're more in line with where my heels are. So as soon as I turn, bang, that's going to be on path and nice, not hitting our slice. But if I restrict my lower body turn and I don't really do anything at all with it, just try to coil up with my upper body, see how high my hands are, see how they're right over my toes. It's not where we want to be. We don't want to be there, because then we've got to make compensations coming down. It's just going to be slicey, or it's going to be poor contact. We don't want that. So that's the first step we've got to do here, guys. We've got to free up our rotation. The way we get depth naturally is to get rotation and get a full turn there. If we can stay on top of this golf ball and turn, get a nice full turn, we're going to get more depth. So ultimately what's going to mean, you guys are going to be hitting it straighter because you've got more depth to the top. You can turn and your club's going to be going on path. And because you're really not restricting your turn, you're going to hit the ball further. So I know there's a lot of guys out there think, right, that's all well and good, but I might be too old, or for example, to not get that full turn. I can't turn like I used to. But this is where you can really take advantage of your lower body move. I wouldn't even mind for a lot of golfers out there to really be turning quite a lot with their hips, really getting there, that hip turn in there, even to the extent where you're lifting that left heel as you're going up. That will give you a lot more range of motion, because we don't need to be extremely flexible to get this club back there. We just need more turn to encourage the movement to happen, even if it's just a little bit. Saying that, one of my lessons, Alan, who's in his 90s, this is one thing we managed to change for him. And also he's 90, so he hasn't got great mobility, but we managed just to, by lifting that lead heel, encouraging his belt buckle to be moving around and pointing at me when I was standing behind him in the lesson, he immediately got that depth behind him and he stopped slicing it. And that was one of the first times he's seen a ball go straight in his whole golfing career. So if Alan can do it, you can definitely do it too. So what we're going to do, guys, we talked about how to do this naturally. So really rotating, getting those hands up to the top of the backswing in a good position. I'm also going to show you a good drill to do that's with your golf bag. That's going to help you do this straight away, and it's going to give you good feedback. So let's get into that, because we need feedback to be able to improve properly. Right, guys, as you can see, I have set up a little drill station here. So what I've done, I've plopped my golf bag down there, and I've just put it a little bit outside and behind my golf ball, but I've also got my alignment stick and just balanced it along the top of my bag there, along the top of my head cover for my driver, so it balances perfectly. So I'll be playing around with your golf bag, with your alignment stick, to making sure you're getting it at a nice 45-degree angle. But we're going to be able to see whether this is going to affect us or not. So we know we can turn, that will get us into that nice spot. But it's always great to practice with feedback as well. We always want to know why something's happening and what we can do to improve it, but we also need a drill to be able to do, to be able to really target it properly. So what I've got here, I've got this drill set up. You can see as soon as I'm going to get too high, I'm going to knock it with my left arm. So we're going to see if I don't rotate that much my backswing and I just lift my hands up, I'm straight away going to hit this stick. So I don't want to do that, especially not at the moment, because it can be quite a balancy job to be able to get this on there. You won't want to knock it, because it will be a while for you to get it back to where it is. So you can see now, for me, I've really got to rotate. My hands are getting nicely behind me at the top of the backswing. And also, if I get there, we know that we're going to be falling on a better path coming down with more depth anyway. But even if we don't, even if we have a sequencing issue in there as well, this is going to block it as well. So it's going to be brilliant. Just you swinging underneath this is going to give you great result. So how we would start off doing this, guys, is making sure we're doing nice small swings to start off with, getting there so we're getting into, like, let's say a 3/4 position where kind of more our left arm's going to be across our chest, just so we're missing this stick. So I just want you guys to hit a good few shots there, just making sure we're missing that stick, swinging underneath it. So just little ones down there where you're just smoothing it, just to make sure that you can miss this with a short swing. Because if we really go in there full swing, full at it straight away, this could be bad news for a lot of you. You could be hitting this stick and it won't be fun. So when we get the practice in there, really making sure we're getting the feel, then we can ramp it up, making sure we're getting those nice bigger swings, making sure we're swinging underneath that stick, getting the depth. So that's good. And what you guys are going to find when you get this more depth, you're going to find your strike might be a lot cleaner, first of all, because it will shallow out your angle of attacking there. You'll be less steep. So a lot of you guys who are really over, you'll make massive divots out the ground as well. So it will really help you clip those balls off there nicely, or make those nice shallow divots. That will be one of the first things you'll notice. But this is definitely a thing of, once we're getting that good rotation, getting those hands going back naturally, we just need a nice drill like this to focus on, and straight away we're going to be hitting better golf shots. So let me do one more, really making sure I'm freeing up my rotation, missing the stick, swinging underneath it. So again, a nice little clip swing down there. So a nice kind of step-by-step way of how you can make your backswing into the place it needs to be to not slice that golf ball and swing extra out to in, because really lead arm depth is what the technical term of this is. It can cause so many things to happen in a downswing that if we do it improperly that we don't want. But today we're really just focusing on how it will affect kind of your path. But there's a lot of things out there for guys who stall out their rotation, do other things, maybe steepen the shaft, maybe early extend that. This lead arm depth up there really influences that negatively if we do it wrong. So, but for you guys out there who slice that golf ball, this is a perfect one out there to practice, because if you're not getting into a good position up from the top of your backswing with good depth, it's always a fighting battle to be able to get the club on the path you want to. And honestly, you will be, you know, fighting a losing battle if you do, because even if you do, let's say, get your path sorted out from a position of a lack of depth, you're going to be manipulating it so much, you're probably going to be having other things that are happening with your body that aren't ideal, that are going to affect you negatively down the line. So this being up here is going to lead you so you get into a good spot going down. There's the saying, a good backswing leads to a good downswing, and this is certainly it here. So before it gets too windy and I get blown off the driving range here, if you guys like that video, make sure you like, helps my channel out a ton. So click that like button. And if you want to see more golf instruction just like this, where we're getting into details that you might not see in other pages out there on YouTube, and that it's really nicely explained so it's easy to understand the cause and effect of things, JChownGolf is where it's at. So make sure you click that subscribe button, so we will make sure that you'll actually be improving in golf, not just seeing these simple tips out there that might just be helping you for a round of golf. This is for permanent fixes in your golf swing with my videos here, so subscribe. So guys, if you struggle with your slice shot and you're not getting your backswing where you want to, you're not getting that depth, this is what you've got to practice. Get practicing, you'll be hitting the ball straight up, I can guarantee it, in a few swings.